Welcome to the voice of Bold Business Radio, the show about ways to stay competitive in a changing market, break through business plateaus, and respond to the changing expectations of today's customers. Your host, Jess Dewell, is a rapid growth entrepreneur, consultant, and business advocate with a 20-year track record of business excellence. She candidly discusses how to achieve your growth strategy and realize your company's unfulfilled potential. Now, here's Jess.
You are in the right place right now. Today, I'm talking with Abigail, and I'm going to tell you about Abigail in just a minute. Before that, though, I want to just make sure you know the type of conversation that you're in for today, which all you regular listeners, you know, all of you new to the show today, thank you. We are excited to have you. And we're talking about how do we deal with the needs that we have as business leaders today? What does that mean in regards to technology, customer expectations, quickly changing markets, our personal development, the boundaries we need to rejuvenate and revive our own light and keep it shining bright as we face the unknowns every day and the knowns and the problems and the pebbles in your shoe, whatever the case may be. Because in the end, what are we doing? We're reaching out to our short-term goals while we increase our confidence in the long-term positioning of our companies. This is program 176, where growth and strategy intersect. Each of us, we have a blind spot, maybe more than one. I'll claim I got many blind spots. The thing is, I also have equally or more passions. And so I'm thinking about you too when putting the show together. I realized, it's worth saying out loud, just in case we haven't heard it in a while, that our company's growth depends on what's happening in the marketplace. And if we're not aware of or being willing to openly look at our blind spots as much as our passions, we're going to be missing something. So that internal reflection it's more than a reflection and, I have to work on myself right now. It's where am I and how do I move forward and make sure that I'm holding myself, my team, and my company in the place for the most impact in our actions today. Today, we're talking with Abigail Manning. She is Oh, you know what? I had this great thing in my head, Abigail, and it's totally, I just gave you a name and it's totally gone. So I'm just going to start past that. You're an advocate for health. You're an advocate for positive mental health. And for those of you joining us, Abigail has experienced childhood abuse by both of her parents, as well as domestic violence as an adult. She uses firsthand experience with touches of humor. And by the way, you will laugh with us in this show, to illuminate the challenges of recognizing and understanding all areas of abuse, from the littlest to the most grossly overt kinds. She sparks compassion in others, and she unites abused and non-abused people to prevent and end abuse. Now, Abigail. Hi, Abigail.
Hello.
This is so great. It's funny. I'm standing here and I don't like to wear shoes. So my feet are stocking, I have socks on and my feet are cold because it's not warm yet outside. It's kind of how my morning is going. I'm like, I'm going to have cold toes today, even though I have these great big wool socks on, and that's okay. I'll go outside later when it's going to, we're going to have a beautiful day today and get to hang out and experience some of nature, which is going to be nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then okay, I know it's Tuesday and yesterday was Monday, but how was your weekend? Did you get a chance to be out in all of our snow and frigidness?
I did. On Saturday, I was out working, cutting branches, pulling weeds, getting everything looking so beautiful. And Sunday, it was dumping snow, freezing cold, bitter winds. And I stayed inside and made a fire and watched movies and enjoyed just not doing anything. It was such a different day for me, and it was really wonderful.
That's fantastic. Well, that's fantastic. A different day. We also had a different day in the freezing cold. Ours did include going outside in the snow. Mostly to just sled and throw snowballs at each other and build a snow fort, right? I mean, yes, we got dumped on. For everybody here, she's on the south side of Denver, I'm on the north side of Denver, and we all got snow. Yeah, we all got snow. Well, and this concept of play and doing something different really ties into what we're talking about today with growth and strategy, because we've got to clue the audience in before we get started so they can keep up with us.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen listening, we will talk fast, we will jump around, yet everything will be intertwined, and it's going to tell and present a fabulous program for you. And we'll be done, about 45 minutes from now. So what I want to think about are these words growth and strategy. So Abigail works from growth on the personal side, and I work from growth on the company side. Abigail works with strategy in terms of personal healthy habits that we can use to not only improve and support ourselves, but those around us. And I talk about strategy in bringing all the right people and the right resources in the right moments at the right times to do what needs to be done. And in both cases, we're talking about impact. We are talking about the impact of our own work, our stewards of our company work. Well, that didn't make sense, but you got the picture there, I'm telling you. And so let's just jump right in. When you heard the title, Where Growth and Strategy Intersect, Abigail, what came to mind first?
Okay, so the first thing that came to my mind is I love intersections because I don't like things when people try to explain them as mutually exclusive. That's where the pendulum swing is too far one way or the other. So I love talking about where do we converge and where do we meet. One of the words that we had chatted about that at one point that I love is confidence. And so I think to me, if we can build a strong and healthy me, then that means this is marrying what you were saying. If we can build a strong and healthy me, then that means we can build a strong and healthy we. So, how do we build confidence in individuals as well as confidence as a group, a team, a company, an organization? So, I think that's where it intersects. One of many, many points where it intersects, but is establishing confidence in self as well as confidence in your team.
And I love confidence. I mean, like you, it's okay. I was thinking about this and I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and we're considering using the word confidence in a title. And the person I was speaking to was great. They brought a perspective to the table I would have never thought of. The people who have, oh, I already have confidence, I don't need to read this, or I don't need to participate in this. And I was like, well, that's really different from me. If I see the word with confidence, I'm going to be like, what's their confidence look like? Do I have a chance to learn something here? And then and other people are going to be like, oh, good, I could get more confidence. I might need that too, and where do you fall on that spectrum? Or is there something that hasn't even been identified quite yet?
In confidence?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think we can all be really confident in one area, our areas of expertise or something like that, and it's a no-brainer. And some days you're even more confident in that category than other times, and then other areas you have no confidence whatsoever. And I think those are all just lies that we believed. I think that we all can be pretty decent at most things, not great at other things, and that's okay to have that confidence about it. And to me, confidence is where it's just courage in action that proves anything is achievable. So, in our changing world, if I have confidence in myself that I can handle something new, right? So, whatever it is, I can handle it. Then, with that courage, that I've done other things, I've achieved other things I didn't think I could do in the past. That is those tiny building steps that we take to build overall confidence. So, when something new comes thrown at you, you can say, I can face this with courage because I faced other things with courage and I did okay. Or I failed and I stood back up and that was okay. That was good. I learned from that too. Or man, I really hit the one out of the ballpark. And so you can have all different types of courage, from failures that, it didn't kill me. I thought failing was going to kill me and it didn't. I'm still here. Look at me. And that's what we find a lot of in abuse is if you learn to stand back up, you can have that courage. It takes a while to stand back up sometimes, especially we're all different people. We've all heard different things, believe different lies about ourselves. But eventually the point is that we need to stand back up and take that step forward. And that's with courage, we gain confidence.
I like how you said we have confidence in some things and not others. And I used the word blind spot at the beginning, and I think that fits in here too. I know I tend to be blindsided or feel like I've been hit by a cosmic 2x4 when something happens that rattles me. And I'm like, if I really look at it, it's just, The signs were there. I just didn't pay attention. Probably because I didn't have the confidence to do whatever it took to actually look at it. That courage that underlies confidence. And just the other day, I remember I came home and I was like getting ready. I was making dinner, and all of a sudden I just said, my whole body went, and all of a sudden I couldn't stand up straight anymore. And I'm like, why can't I stand up straight? What's going on? And then all the words started coming. You're not seeing results here. Everybody's upset with you about this. Can you believe this isn't done yet? Oh my gosh. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Right. On and on and on and on. And I actually felt myself even getting smaller. And the good news was, I was like, oh, look, this is actually what's happening to me. All right. Now, in the middle of it, I was unable to change it. But even just a few days ago, I was like, and where did it come from?
Right.
Well, when it really comes, it comes from the things that, for me, right, we all act differently. And I know my confidence is greatly tested. My courage is immensely tried when um, those things, the things that happen at the last minute, right? The last 2 minutes of a football game, the phone call you get right before you're walking out the door, the thing that happens when you first wake up in the morning, when you get a phone call or a text, whatever that might be, those types of things. I was like, oh, you know, and it looks like, yep,
Yeah.
okay, but we are now.
Okay.
Okay. Um,
So I apologize. I wasn't able to hear the very last part.
That's okay. I'll start from there, then somewhere back there. And that was, so what do we do when we see we're in it? Or what do we do when we get to the other side of it and are like, man,
Yeah,
here's,
I have an idea. Okay. Okay. So I love that, Jess. So the idea of being blind.
here's this thing. Uh,
Oh, sorry. So the idea of being blind spots and blindsided. I love that you brought that up. And that does happen. And all of a sudden, like you said, you get home and you're like, what happened? Why do I feel the weight of the world? Why do I feel like I don't want to get out of bed? Why is everything crumbling around? And I think there's 3 steps for us for blind spots so that we don't get blindsided. For me, one of them is do look in the rearview mirror. So many people say it's in the past. Well, if you haven't dealt with it, then it's always this gnawing feeling of something that's coming up from behind, especially abuse. So when you do the hard work, you look in your rearview mirror about what was in your past and what do you need to overcome or what do you need to address. Those are those negative tapes that we all believed is truth. You're never good enough. You're not smart enough. You're too old. You're too young. No one's going to like you. So clear up what was in the past. Clear up what you see in the rearview mirror and kind of flip it around into something that's more positive. I call that flip a dip. Take a negative and turn it into a positive. Don't believe the lies. Believe the truth that you are a good person and you're never too old and you're never too young to have a valid point and a great idea and ambition, right?
I'm
And
going to
then,
interject here and add,
yeah,
yes, you're saying accept what is and accept who we are regardless, and including, more importantly, including what happened to us at any point in the past that caused us hurt or trauma.
right. And negative thought tape. So catching yourself and what's in your rearview mirror, what's scaring you, what's preventing you from going after the bigger job, what's preventing you from training for that running race or something like that. What's in the back of your head, what's behind you that you're maybe consciously or not consciously aware of, that's keeping you held down or keeping you playing it small, keeping you not having courage, keeping you discouraged from having the dream life that you want, going for bigger things. And then how do you rework that? And so it actually is your strength. And that comes from self-awareness and looking yourself in the mirror and being aware of what your strengths are and being good with yourself. And I think one of the best ways of doing that is literally, I talk about doing mirror work sometimes, like looking at yourself in the mirror and talking to yourself as if you're your best friend. And also, every Tuesday I post like positive reinforcements about what is authentic health. And today is about an accountability buddy. Who do you have that's an accountability buddy? Someone who's not going to let you talk negatively about yourself. Someone who's going to encourage you to go for that bigger dream. Someone who's going to say, that's a lie. You are more than good enough. So having an accountability buddy who knows what is in your past, who knows what's in your future, who can help you stay accountable to walking on that path, because it does take courage.
Okay, so I'm thinking about this, and there's another piece that we can look at. So self-work, and then flipping it to the business side, or then expanding it to include business. And that is, we can do a confidence assessment. Where are we as a leader with this assessment? And I have this broken out, but the gist are these three things. There are three check-in points, and the first part of each one. Number one, have you stated your company's growth goals to every person in your organization? Right? This is a confidence builder. We can, hopefully, most of us are like, of course we have. We're talking about this stuff all the time. Check. Rock on. We already have we've accomplished something, and we're putting it in the lens of what we're doing as a leader. The second one, this one's a little harder. However, when we're aware not only of ourselves, but what's happening around us, we can include what's happening in our competitive marketplace. And that is, can you rattle off where you and your team are achieving your growth and where you are not? And so this is pretty interesting, because now it's like, okay, now we can get into this a little bit more. Can I really hold up that mirror and go, I'm telling myself the truth, or I'm not quite ready for that? And I will tell you, on the personal, we're going to flip back to personal really quick, because you're talking about include everything that happened to you. Well, you know what? There are parts of my childhood I still don't remember, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to. And I'm going to just say grace and acceptance. I just don't want to. Not yet. Now, there will be a time and there will be a place. So hopefully it's not a cosmic 2x4. Nonetheless, you know what I mean? That's one of those things where even if we can't look yet, even if we can't incorporate it all, it's okay to know that it's there and we're not ready to look. I don't know how you feel about that, Abigail, but that's kind of my personal give myself some grace. I've done amazing. I'm achieving a lot. I have made incredible strides in so many areas. So I can bring them along until they're ready to be known.
Right. And I love that how you take it back to the business perspective. So the goal, right? We have to have a goal. What are we going after? What are we working towards? And articulating that so everybody can envision it, see it, feel it, become passionate about it.
Yes.
And so if we as a leader don't feel that I'm the one to lead the charge, I'm the one who can mentor this team or something like that. If that's what's in the back of your head, and that's why I go to the personal side of it, if that's what your leader has rumbling around in the back of their head, everybody on the team is going to feel it, or the goal isn't going to be articulated in a way that they can understand it. So I think it's really important in that accountability too, of how are we all doing? Hey, Joe, you're really good at marketing strategies. We need you to come in on that place and let him shine in that strength. And Jenny, you're really good in the accounting department. And so we need to know, where are the numbers? Are we meeting? How close are we? Let's do a pie chart so that, Jeff over there is more graphic looking and he can understand it. So it is that garbage that we have in our head that we have to get rid of so that we can all focus on the goal with productivity and positivity. And everybody feels an important part of the team.
Yes. Thank you. And because it ties right into the third piece, I was like, oh, I totally stopped. And that's okay. We're going to come back. So the first one, have we stated it? Are we telling people what we've said the goal is, or what goal we have been given? Can we, do we know exactly where we are in our marketplace, and internally and externally focused? And then the third one, do you know what your competitors are actually doing? You can see it on the surface. Have you actually really looked at it and thought about it? What are they doing different? Where is their unique space, and what is exactly the place that they're holding in the market? So we don't have to be all things to all people. We can be like, good. Yeah, we might do some of that, but that's what they do. Here's what we do. And here's the difference. Isn't that cool?
Yes, that's really cool.
How we're different.
Yes. Well, something that pops in my head about that is going back to our kind of the original courage, right?
Yeah.
So having courage of knowing where your strengths are, and having courage to say, okay, I'm going to deal with change, because change is inevitable. We're always going to have change, right?
Yep.
So if I have the courage that I can handle things, that means I can handle change. So business-wise, Blockbuster, right?
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I used to spend a lot of time going to Blockbuster to get movies,
Yeah.
bring them home and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't believe they're around. I don't know. I'm not a business analyst or whatever, but I certainly don't have any in my hometown. And it's because they didn't see change. Right.
Mhm.
So confidence isn't arrogance, like everybody needs us. We're going to be around forever. There's no way we can crash and burn. Confidence is I'm going to look in the mirror. I'm going to figure out my strengths. I'm going to stay ahead of things. I'm going to look at my competition. I'm going to look at what do we do really, really well. I'm going to look at our core values. Are they in alignment with our goals? And then with that, the courage of saying, where do we need to change? Where do we need to adapt and grow versus die on the vine?
Okay, so yes, and they died a very slow, painful death. And it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, or umpteen bazillion gajillion paper cuts. It's the stuff that's there, and we do get in our own way. I was actually having a different conversation, well, I talk all the time, so I'm always having conversations. So just the people I'm talking to and are about are totally different situation right here. And that was, so what do we do when we aren't looking and all of a sudden we do? And or there's no looking, we can't hide it anymore. We can't be an ostrich with a head in the sand
Yeah.
anymore. Our business is suffering. We have people who depend on us to pay them. They have committed and they've hitched their missions to ours, and we have a responsibility to them as much as they have a responsibility to us. And it goes back to that first question: have we stated our growth goals? There's this great podcast that I listened to. It was most likely an HBR idea cast, and it was a CEO who had said, you know what, times have changed, and all of a sudden here we go. And he didn't want to lay anybody off because he recognized that, and for him that was part of how he led. And the short of the story is, he went to his people and he said, hey, we're losing money. We are committed to doing everything we can to make money, to get the growth, to get the sales that we need, but we can't do it by ourselves. We need you and you and you and you and you. And he's talking to the entire company. And what ended up happening, Abigail, was that this company all of a sudden started, everybody figured out, how do we save money? How do we evaluate certain things? Where do we have, I call them leaky pipes. Where do we have the leaky pipes? And every month, this CEO would sit down with his controller, and he would tell the controller was wrong. It can't be that good. What are you missing? It can't be that good. And then in the end, sure enough, stating it and saying, look, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
All of your extra energy, all of your energy in general for the time that you're here, and your extra energy put here. Let's do this. And he created a mission for everybody, and he ignited that for all of those people. And they turned around and they didn't have to reinvent. They didn't have to close down. They didn't have to lay off. What they did was they became lean. They grew. They had passion. They figured out how to let go of the status quo pretty quickly and look for something different.
Yeah. I love that. To me, that was the ultimate of accountability.
Yes.
An accountability, not just buddy, but an accountability where you're building trust and loyalty and teamwork. And, we're in choppy waters, but we all have to row together.
Yes.
Or we're never going to make it to shore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I don't know why it's human nature to only wait until you're in a crisis situation. And that's what I think you and I are trying to prevent, is create awareness where people can see it prior to the crisis, prior to, wait a minute, you mean our survival is all on the same team, And so if we could have that accountability and that understanding of that every single person matters, every person on your team, every person in your company, everything matters. What you say to them, how you encourage them, how you develop their skills, how you overlook some of the things that they're not great at. So, every leader is not going to be super articulate or have great people skills, but are they really good at knowing the vision and getting the steps there? Yes. Well, then let's honor that in that leader. Let's not try to make everybody the same. Let's honor each person's specific talents and skills, and have a little bit more elbow room for one another, right?
Yes.
And be accountable. Each person's accountable. accountable. So it
Yes.
doesn't matter your job. If you're wasting money, if you're wasting time, if you're pulling the rest of the team down. So accountability is, I think that ties right back into it from a personal perspective, as well as how it can have that amazing impact on that podcast you listen to, that company.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I love
Thank
it.
you for that. Okay. And by the way, I think the story and your response answered this question. However, we're going to succinctly try and pull out a nugget or two for
Okay.
Josh.
Let's do
Hashtag
it.
VBB Radio. Josh is asking, what is the best way to use a confidence assessment when it comes to our workplace? Not being a leader yet, somebody trying to get there. Okay, go from the personal growth side. What are 3 things that you could tell, whether they're words or phrases, to get Josh started? And I'll do it from the career building side.
I'm not sure. I'll be honest, Jess. I'm not sure I really understand the question. So a confidence assessment test, I have not
I
taken.
added the word test because I thought it made sense.
Oh,
There's a word missing in here. What would be the best way? Okay, what would be the best? Let's try this. What would be the best way to build confidence when it comes to the workplace? Not as a leader, but somebody trying to get there.
got it.
There we
Thanks.
go.
That's a good question. Okay.
So, Josh, I hope I got the interpretation right.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh. And if not, let us know.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So how to build confidence in your workplace when you are the not the leader, but you're on the team kind of thing. One is be very clear about what the goal is. What is your job? What is your position? What is the team counting on you to do? And work on that and do that super, super well, even if that's not where you think you need to be. So once you have built that trust, that if I can give you an assignment A, but you really want to be working on B, but you do A so well, right? I'm the boss and I'm like, man, that Josh, he's stepping up to the plate every single time. He's positive, he's proactive, he figured it out. I can count on him as a good resource. And then Josh comes back and maybe he has to do another A. And then Josh says to me the third time, I'm happy doing A, but I really think my skill sets are in B. Can I try a B? Yeah, I'll trust you. And then that builds that confidence, not only in himself, but also in the leaders around him, that I will go to bat for you. I will believe in you. You have proven yourself to me. It takes a while to prove it. And I think sometimes people think you should just trust me right away. You should have confidence in me right away. And confidence is trust. It's built over time. It's built over repetitive actions. So that's my answer.
That's amazing. So my answer is very long. I'm going to pull from Carla Harris and some of my own experience. So I'm just going to say, Carla Harris, thank you. And I'll start with what she said. And that is, what do you want to be known for in your role? Do you want to be known as the happy-go-lucky person? Do you want to be known as the problem solver? Do you want to be known as the risk taker? Do you want to be known as the getter or donerer? Probably not that, but a variation of it, right? What do you want to be known as? And then what actions are you taking, or what actions do you add to start taking to become known for those words in your role? Mm-hmm. Now, a variation of, I've heard it on a lot of different places. So what I would say is it goes back to, have you stated your own personal growth goals to your direct supervisor, who you report to? We're going to go back to the 3 questions that I asked. And the reason for that is because if you have not, they don't know what you're attempting to do. How can they help you and mentor you if you don't put it out on the table what you want to do and actually say, this is what I'm doing. Here's what I'm trying to do. How does it fit in with this role in a way that I can do this role really well? Because let's say one of those things is to improve, get promoted. Let's talk about promotion. If one of your goals is promotion and you're not having these conversations with your direct superior, or you are and you're failing at, or nothing is happening with those, the only way you're going to get noticed and promoted is when somebody knows about you and knows of you and sees you just in the ways that Abigail was just talking about, because the decision of who to promote is not made with you in the room. And so if you're looking for the promotion, who's going to go to bat for you in that room? And so taking all of the things that she was saying, that Abigail was just saying, and take it one step further. The one step further being, so how do I do the role? What skills do I need to do the role that I'm aspiring to? Another piece of that would be, if my direct superior doesn't have that trust with me, or I'm unable to crack that nut, who else can I become known to? and be officially or unofficially mentored by, so that we can have those conversations and they know what I want. So, food for thought on that, Josh. That would be what I add. Now, we have gone over just a little bit of our time. So, we're going to break to Scott and we will be right back.
You're listening to the voice of Bold Business Radio. In every program, we share stories, tips, and concepts that benefit short-term goals and increase confidence in long-term positioning. Stay current and receive programs to continue sparking ideas about growth strategy by subscribing to the program at voiceofboldbusiness.com. Now, back to Jess.
You're listening to Program 176, where growth and strategy intersect. I'm talking with Abigail Manning, advocate to prevent and end abuse. You know what? Here's the thing. We've been talking about confidence a lot, and it is showing up in accountability. It is showing up as responsibility. It is showing up as reflection. It is showing up as possibility. I'm not exactly sure where we haven't gone yet, but we have a few more minutes of this show, 20 to be exact, where we're going to see what else we can cover and go the next level in. Dig into this even more, because it is all the same. We could have said, well, we're just going to talk about personal growth. And some of you listening on a regular basis are like, but she's all about sales growth and business growth and sustainability. So now what? And we thought about just talking about strategy, about all the things that we need to do to be able to have the strategy to get the growth that we want, to stay on course and to check in. But then we would be looking at and missing a blind spot that all of us have. And I'm going to say all of us have it. We can only lead and we can only grow ourselves and our businesses as much as we have capacity for within ourselves. So our job is to increase our own capacity, which will remove barriers and allow us to be more open and willing to look at other people and other things, to evaluate risk and opportunity and possibility, and even like, do we change our vendor for who gives us water in the break room? I mean, all of those things, little to big, matter in this case. So I want to talk about jumping right in, and let's actually talk about the personal side for just a minute, and then we'll go to the work side, because hopefully you're noticing, as Abigail and I are talking, that these dovetail beautifully together. And sometimes where one ends and where another begins is a little wishy-washy. And now some of us don't like that area. And that's actually a place that, Abigail, you and I play very well, is in that gray, nebulous, it's kind of scary, kind of unknown, kind of exciting place.
Yes. Because
all right.
we don't want it to be scary, right? So that's where you're uncomfortable or where you're discouraged. You can't be productive, right? And so, but if we can find encouragement in there, or we can find answers in there, we can actually be stronger than we ever imagined. So I had a thought when I was listening to you about like goals and setting goals and things like that, and what can we do? So I think with our goal setting, this is what I want. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to achieve. Those are all tied to our core values. And when we have courage, right, that builds that confidence. And so one of the people I think about is one of like my favorite inspirational stories is Jesse Owens. And so he wasn't walking in that stadium confident he was going to change the world, right? But he had courage because he had successes in the past. He had core values of, I am going to be a proud, dignified person and do the best I can and represent myself and my country really well and dig deep, right? And he had the critic was his self-critic, but he made it a self-cheerleader. He made it like, I can do this. I believe in my values. I have courage. And what did he accomplish? In I think it was less than an hour, he won 4 gold medals. He broke 3 world records, tied for a 4th record, and he single-handedly, according to a lot of people and in my perspective, tore apart the whole Nazi live supremacy. I mean, that's what we can do when we really believe in ourselves. We have courage and confidence and this goal, this unobtainable goal. He did it, right? So why can't we? Why can't we be like that company you're talking about and all row together and make our organizations, make our nonprofits, our corporations, our schools, these amazing institutions. And it's all, you know, you think one person can't change the world, you know, look at the example of Jesse Owens. Look at the example of your voice being bold and reaching people and influencing and changing them. And then they're going out and changing other people. That's why I do think they dovetail really well together between the individual and the business world.
Your story about Jesse Owens uh, leads into, one of the areas I know we talking about, which is
Yeah.
how much confidence do we need? How much confidence do we need to do that? And a lot. Sometimes it's more than we think is possible. And that's when, you dig deep, you pull up those socks or those shoes, you go get 4 gold medals, you whatever needs to happen. And I'm thinking about that in relationship to a company. So does it shift? And how do we bring over our personal confidence into the roles that we have to steward our companies effectively and lead them forward?
I think know what you're doing. So I'll break it down super simple. So one of the things I do about abuse is I try to take it so it's super simple. Mental health, make it super simple. So the super simple question is it healthy or is it unhealthy? Is the company I'm building, if we're talking leadership, if the company I'm building, the product I'm selling, is it healthy or is it unhealthy? Right? Hopefully the answer is it's healthy. It's doing good. It's making it a better place. It's helping people cope, communicate, understand, educate, right? And when you can get behind that and you can get behind what it's doing and how it's creating a healthy environment, I think then people are unstoppable because we are very mission, passion driven people. When we find something that we really believe in and that it touches on something. So for me, I'm really driven by this because it touched on me, like you said in the beginning, childhood abuse and domestic violence, that I'm willing to go out and find courage and find confidence because I know all the people who talk to me quietly that won't go up and do it publicly. And so it's that leading by example isn't because I just want to be out in the front and announce it. So recently I put on some postings that domestic violence, I told my story for the first time publicly and I did it in front of 300 people.
Right.
I didn't need that kind of therapy in front of 300 people. I did it because the people around me said, the way you explain it is so different and it needs to be said that way. It needs to be told. So I did it for the people around me and I did it for anybody who could hear it. And I think that's where leadership is when you have something you believe in so much and your personal values are aligned with that and you have the goal and you can see it. You know, it goes behind a tree every now and then. You don't always see it, right? And it goes down a hill and then it blows up in front of your face. But if you still keep working towards that goal, still keep taking those steps, that to me is what we're trying to achieve.
By the way, I'm going to just pop in here. You'll find this in the show notes at the end. Abigail, for being on the show, has a gift for all of us.
Uh,
Isn't this amazing? And this is the perfect place to say it because one of her workshops is called Productivity and Profitability Through Healthy People Skills. And provided this is something you need in your organization right now, she has said that reach out to her through the program notes page across social media. All of those links are on the Voice of Bold Business Radio. She will give you 10% off of the workshop fee for your organization, if provided is scheduled by December 31st, 2018. So schedule now for your spring and your summer activities and take advantage of this great thing because she has this amazing gift for us and we're going to pass that along.
Thank you. Well, I'm grateful to you and I'm grateful to the people listening. I really am.
I'm so glad. This is so great, right? And here's the other piece of that. So let's take everything that you've said and add to it. And that is that one of the things I hear in what you say, not only now, but in all of our conversations and in the work that you do, and when I've been to your workshops and presentations, is that everybody's normal is different.
Yeah.
And so when everybody's normal is different, how do we know what industry norms are?
Yeah.
When this is how we do things here, right? That could be home life, work life, volunteer life, whatever. How we do things here really matters. And so recognizing that there's a place to go, yeah, I'm going to really notice how we do things here. And then say, I'm also not going to accept them without thinking about them. And so everything that we're talking about when we're aligning with our own values and we think things are working, and whether they're blowing up or they're going really well and they are working or they're not working, what is normal for us and what is normal for the way that our organizations work? What is normal for the patterns that we've seen in the past, so that we can really know where, and I'm going to use the word we collectively, our organization stands, because it's only in that place that we have true competitive advantage, that we know what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the reasons that we're doing it. Now, and I have an example, and I know I've shared this before somewhere in the shows, and that's the rolling casters. So driving down the road was not just a caster company to get you whatever kind of caster you need for your chairs and your desks and your machinery and your manufacturing stuff, right? It was specifically rolling casters. This business was built on a specific type of caster, okay? And it was plastered all over the side of this truck. Now, that person, leading that company, was very clear. This is what we do. This is what we do really well. And we want to serve the most people possible and get the most rolling casters installed, replaced, supplied, whatever the words are that go with those rolling casters, out into our city. Now, that's pretty amazing, because it's easy to go, well, I already have Rolling Casters company who sells these to me. Can you get this other kind too? Can you get this other kind too?
Yeah.
And then what happens? Our confidence erodes. Well, maybe we should. Well, do we need to keep that customer? Well, how do we draw this line? Where's that boundary? And what's healthy for our company, and keeping everybody really clear on what those growth goals are, and understanding that it is the norm for companies to go, sure, we'll do that for you, because we want to support our clients in every way we can. There's a difference with supporting our clients and our customers every single way we can, and diluting our worth in the grand scheme of things for sustainability to continue serving our customers 5 years from now.
Yeah. And that's that core value, mission statement, vision statement, purpose, passion. That's your why. That's and staying focused to it. So I can easily do the other, right? I can easily be the pretty bird, squirrel, but that's how we come up with ideas and concepts. And if this goes to that, and that's kind of my makeup on how I kind of see the world. And I see a leaf fluttering and I'm like, oh, that explains, and then I go from there. So that can be a skill set. But if my core value is I want to provide this, I want to provide content on this, that's how you can stay focused. But I also warn people that don't get so narrow-minded that this is all I am, right? We're multifaceted people, and that caster company doesn't want to become Blockbuster. And so think along, what are my values? So if the value is the best rolling casters that in the entire world, or is it moving things effortlessly? Well, maybe there's a new technology that we can move more effortlessly. So let's continue to think about that. So is the core value to be the best as casters, or is the core value to move things effortlessly? I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense. And yes, and we can look at that from this perspective. We can also look at it as, where are we getting our casters? Are there people making our casters? Are there computers making our casters? Has this been automated? How does that look for quality? What kinds of things do we need to ensure? I mean, dude, things are to do things so well. There's so many layers, is what I heard you just say. And it's like, let's go. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of the deep end and get the thing that somebody threw down there for us to go find. Or opposite, let's see how quickly can we figure out how to get a ladder up to this kite or this hot air balloon that's waiting for us up there to take us even higher. I'm like you. Possibility. And I always start from that place too. Now so we talked about what's normal, quote unquote. Okay, fast changes, unknowns, and decision-making. We always are making decisions without all the information. It's always imperfect. And time could be on our side. We also just have to know how much time we have before it becomes detrimental to what we are attempting to do. And so, what do we do? I mean, how do we keep our confidence? How do we ensure we're solid in our personal growth and our business growth? And we're solid in the strategies that we are employing to be our best selves, and to stay on growth strategy for our organizations when we don't have all the information. And we know we don't have all the information. And there's a good chance the information that we do have, there's a percentage of it that is just plain wrong.
Right, right. So, so I would say blind spots. We talked about that a little bit, like knowing your blind spots and all that kind of stuff. Warning bells. So something in abuse is that it always starts small and then it grows bigger. It's repeated mistreatment. That's the shortest definition of what I use for abuse, repeated mistreatment. So there are warning bells in our industry, right? Sales took a dip. We don't really know why, but they're back up. So who cares? It's a warning bell, right? Maybe we should care. Maybe we should see why. Technology is changing. I don't care. I make the best pen in the world. Well, we may not be using pens. We may use our finger to write on smart tablets and things like that, right? So being aware, not having, you're talking about eroding confidence. And I think that if you're saying, well, I can always stay up to date, I can always be creative, I can always look at things from a new perspective. Like when we talked, about the helium balloon and the pretty bird and all that kind of stuff, that I can always look at things with new, fresh eyes. But I'm also going to heed those small little warning bells along the way. And I'm going to keep my mind open so that when I'm out for a walk or I'm out relaxing, my brain can be working on it and think about what those warning bells are, or what a new technology is, and how we can make our rolling casters now be automated. So from an app on my phone, I can move that around, and that would help people in nursing homes. That would help people who are bound into a wheelchair and don't have accessibility, or in rehab or something like that, right? So that's how we can use creativity and confidence to keep our products and our businesses alive and thriving. And isn't it a whole lot more fun? I mean,
Yes, way
it
more fun.
It should be fun to go to work and be part of a bigger picture and be part of a team that makes it come alive.
Oh, I hear you. And the answer is yes, yes, yes. And it makes me think of, I'm looking over here at some notes that I have been making. One way that we can speed test the information we have when we're faced with a decision that we feel like we don't have a lot of time to make, or we've come to the end of the time and we don't feel any closer to being able to make a decision. So we're okay. And I'm not going to use the word forced. It feels forced, but really it's, you know what? If we're going to stay on time for all of these other things, we must make this decision now. The time has come. The time has come. We've got to put our stake in the ground and move forward. And that is to be inclusive. Who can get you more input quickly and look at everything that you've got and poke holes in what's being presented? Who can help us from different perspectives internally within an organization? Who on our boards? And by the way, if we don't have a board, even as a small company, come talk to me, because that's an important thing. Who on our board can we pull from their knowledge and what they're doing in their work and what they have done in their work, so that we can get the advice that we need to navigate this? Because I don't know about all the decisions that I'm making, but I'm confident that a decision is going to be made. And so, which is very different. Of course I can make a decision. I am confident about making a decision. No problem. The thing is, when the time comes to make the decision, am I confident in the information? Am I confident in the people I have employed to discuss this with me, to poke holes in it, to really think through and think differently than me around this, to make sure I'm making the best choice? And I'm using the word me in this case. This could be a team of three. If there are three founders that are working together, or if this is the CEO, the president, and the CTO, or the CFO, right? Some combination of three on your team. Who else? Three is great. You're already ahead of not having a tie anywhere or a split 50-50. But who else are you bringing in to have these conversations? Because this is also our personal growth. Can we ask for help? Can we receive what people say, right? Yeah.
I totally agree. And what I like about all that, it kind of wraps up everything that we've been really talking about, is like having a goal, knowing what you want, letting people shine in their areas of expertise, right? And encouraging that, and being thankful and gratitude for people with different expertise skills. And then it's that tough accountability. Have I built trust with these people? Do I know that what you're saying to me, Jess, if you're giving me feedback, do I trust it? Do I respect it? Do I feel safe? Are we together? Are you being transparent with me? Right? And that accountability. And then saying, at the end of the day, I know it's my decision. So if you guys have given me great advice, my board, my team, my staff, my family, my friends, whoever it is that you're going to, and I do like the idea of going to multiple sources to see if you're getting consistency, the same information back, because like you said, our norms are all different. So it kind of skews how we give information, is how we see it. And that's based on our past and our life experiences and what books we've read and people we're hanging around. But if you have that vision of what you want, and you have people around you that you trust, and you have people around you that are holding you accountable with loving, kind, firm directness, right? Being transparent,
Yes.
then it makes making decisions a whole lot better. And if you know you have the confidence of, if I made the wrong decision, it wasn't because I didn't put enough effort into it, because I wasn't being open-minded and I wasn't willing to be courageous and stand out in front and make the decision and move forward, I'll still be okay. I'll still be okay. Because I have my backup systems, I have my resources, and we're going to be okay. But I did it with the best information I had at the time. Because you're right, there's no perfect time, and you can never have all the information you need to make a decision.
Can you tell? I knew we were going to have a hard time hitting this 50-minute mark. And the time for our live show is over. So here's what we are going to do. We are going to close down this show, and Abigail and I are going to continue our conversation. So you can get it by emailing us, radio@reddirection, and telling us that you want it, and we will tell you where to go find it once Scott has worked his magic and made it available. So until then, don't forget radio@reddirection.com, and let us know it's program 176 and you would like to be able to have this bonus where we're going to talk about what makes it bold, wrap up some other thoughts, and probably take at least one or two tangents along the way, because it's how our brains work when we think different. So you will find all of the program notes for where growth and strategy intersect at voiceofboldbusiness.com/P176. That is voiceofboldbusiness.com/P for program 176. Keep this conversation going. Tell us what you think. Rate the program on iTunes, iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever you are listening, and pull our programs from. Learn from each other's experience, learn from our experiences, and incorporate the takeaways for your own practical application. Can you determine for you where your growth and strategy intersect?
The Voice of Bold Business Radio gives you insights about how to achieve your company's growth strategy. Use hashtag VBBRadio or email us at radio@reddirection.com to ask questions and share your experiences. Add your voice to the conversation. Together, we define what being an effective leader means today. Special thanks to the Scott Treatment for technical production. Thank you for joining us.